Hey guys, welcome back to the Kool-Aid Podcast. Alex, Alvaro, you know the vibe. Guys, this was an absolutely atrocious performance from Barcelona. I am furious. This was by far the worst performance under Xavi. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's a relapse, right? Unfortunately, as good as our current team is, and as much as we have improved, and as long as we've come from what we were under Koeman and all the coaches before him, unfortunately, we had a terrible game. We didn't have the ambition. We didn't have the hunger to go after the goals. We were missing chances. Defensively, I don't even think we were terrible, right? Like, it wasn't our best defensive showcase, but still, it wasn't terrible either. It was just our offense, man, and our midfield. I think it was lacking that intensity. I know it's been a hard few weeks, and it's gonna get only harder. So mentally, it must be very exhausting for the players. But nonetheless, they gotta keep pushing. And these performances, we can't allow slip ups like this because our group isn't easy, right? We got Bayern and Milan to look at, so it's very disheartening to see this.
Mm-hmm. Alvaro?
I didn't get to see most of the match, but I did see bits of it and I saw the replays and stuff. And um, they need a sense of direction because yes, they do have some injuries, but there really isn't much to say. Yeah, playing away against Inter it's always gonna be tough, but every other match outside of Bayern should be must win.
Mm-hmm.
And Inter is a tough opponent, but that should not be the case whatsoever. And I know there were a lot of mistakes from the referees and throughout the match that
Yeah.
messed up Barca.
Yeah,
But
especially with the handball.
exactly,
I think this game there's we need to talk about a lot of things. From tactically how we set up the lineup that we put out, the players, the substitutions. I think this was a nightmare performance. Just looking from the very start, even before a ball has been kicked. Um, Marcos Alonso started, Sergio Roberto started, Rafinha started on the left. He played sort of like an inverted winger. Um, Overall, I think none of Xavi's tactics worked. I think he was completely outclassed by Inzaghi in this match. Uh, you saw how at first we were thinking, oh, is he going to go three in the back with Marcos Alonso as the third center back, or is he going to have four in the back? He went with the four in the back, and Rafinha inverted it. Marcos Alonso, not Bamil as forward, and not having as great as a game as he had against Bayern. I think this was an atrocious performance. I think no one on the pitch had a good game except I would say maybe Pedri. Pedri was the only one who rose to the occasion, and Eric Garcia. I think he had a solid performance, but still, I think other than these two, I think no one else had a great performance.
I'm just gonna say this: they play Balde, a right back, against Mallorca this weekend, and I don't know why Xavi still thinks that by playing the vets you're gonna win games. Sergio Roberto, yeah, he's the typical right back that we're used to seeing, but Balde played a good game against Mallorca,
Mm.
and Sergio Roberto and Alonso playing at the same time when first of all Sergio Roberto is not a starter in many top clubs, and Alonso he's still getting a hang of the team. You already tried doing that against Bayern, it didn't really work. So doubling up on that against Inter, at least give Balde a chance at left back if you're not gonna play him at right back.
No, I
So
know.
the
Mm-hmm.
midfield and the attack, I mean, it looks just like it's been looking all season. But Gavi, Pedri, Busquets, I mean
Mm-hmm.
Gavi, Kessie, Pedri not yet. Gavi and Kessie, and then we're fine up top. Even though the result didn't show it, we're fine on top. But the defense is the biggest issue, and
Yeah,
saying that we're fine on top, I'm not saying that the results are there. I'm saying the names that need to be there are there.
yeah.
But
The
Yeah,
names are
we,
there.
we we have the players.
Yeah,
at the back, you can't be relying on Sergio Roberto the entire 90 minutes when you
Yeah,
have people like Balde that can come in.
and when we talk about Xavi tactically, of course, we gotta consider that he's been a coach for a very small amount of time. I think it's only
he's
been 2 years
very
of him
yeah. He's
coaching.
still very inexperienced in that
Yeah,
top
he's
position.
still learning a lot, and yes, brilliant player, complete legend of the game. But there are things that you learn, and there are things that don't come as naturally, right? Um, One of these things is, of course, knowing what your lineup is, especially Barca as a team with such depth and such quality on almost every position that it's almost like it's always a difficult choice just to get a starting 11. And we see this a lot up top, and the midfield is more clear, but on defense too. And I just think Xavi has to be a bit more aggressive. He's gotta not gamble. Gamble's not the right word, but he's gotta be more. He's gotta have more ambition, right? He's gotta take more risks. I know that Balde hasn't been. He's not a household name yet, right? And he's not a player
Yeah.
that we value, or not we, but a lot of people value us highly. But he's gotta get that idea out of his head. If he's the one giving you results, then he's the one you gotta play.
Yeah. Hmm.
And yeah, this is obvious to me at least. But if you have to play him right back, you play him right back. We don't currently have a right back. Asconde is injured. Araujo's injured. Then you gotta make do with what you have, and our options aren't terrible. And as for Alonso, I said it before. I think he's a decent player, but even at his age, he still has a lot to learn, and he still has to adapt to the team. It's not the same playing style as Chelsea.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Going into Marcos Alonso, you saw how if Inter are going to be playing in a low block team and they're going to be hitting you on the counter, you need a pacey defender. You need pacey defenders to be able to stop that counter. What happens is you play Marcos Alonso, who's not blessed with pace, to go up against Lautaro Martinez and Correa. You saw multiple times they Inter attacking through that left hand side, him being beaten for pace. Even from the very 25 minutes, I was thinking, hey, this is not working. Bring on Balde. Bring on Balde. Have him play in the left back position, because Sergio Roberto didn't play a terrible game. He never put a foot wrong. Just the only thing he gave zero creativity. As a right back, you need to be creative, especially when you're playing for Barcelona. He wasn't creative at all. So neither of our fullbacks had a great game. Eric Garcia, his distribution was very good. I thought Pedri, he barely touched the ball. As an interior in Barcelona, you can't ghost in games. You can't do that. He received the ball very little. I think Dembele had an atrocious performance. So did Rafinha ghosted. And Lewandowski, he had no service. If he doesn't get service, he can't do anything about it. You saw him coming deep multiple times to receive the ball and distribute it to the wingers. But Dembele, I believe he lost 45 balls or something like that in the entire game, or 20. My bad, 20 out of 45. That's bad. You saw how
it's almost half the balls you're getting.
Exactly, half the balls that you're losing. You're losing in dangerous areas where they're countering you. And if we don't have Kunde or Araujo to defend that, I mean, like, what are you gonna have? Christensen, who's not blessed with pace, who's been very solid so far. Or you're gonna have Eric and Garcia work on the counter. No, you don't want that.
Dembele has those moments that he thinks that he's prime Messi and tries to take on the entire defense in one push. And when that happens, he completely disregards any open spaces and any simple passes that can lead to something else. And yeah, he might try back on the ball, but that's a lost possession right there. And he can't be so careless like it was.
And that's another thing we have to consider, because as amazing as he can be, Dembele can a lot of times be a liability for the team. Giving the ball away, missing opportunities, and of course he's still going to be a starter, and we obviously value his game very highly. But it's something worth noting that he's not a consistent player. Unfortunately, as good as he is, he has been giving numbers, but the consistency isn't there for him. And although that's not what I wanted to talk about right now, going back earlier to what you were saying about Alonso, I think he's best off playing center back. I think it'd be good to. He's a tall player. He's, I believe, over 6'1". He's a tall guy. He can play center back well. He's pretty good distributing the ball. He's good under pressure. I think personally that's best for him, especially if we're gonna play teams that counter. Because, like you said, and not even teams that counter. We have teams like Bayern who, yes, they counter, but they also maintain ball possession. So against teams like that have fast wingers, I guess yeah, center, sorry, a right back with moderate speed could do the work. But when you're coming up against people like Sane, Sadio Mane, and well, that's just Bayern, but here in Inter with the likes of Lautaro Martinez, it's very hard to have your defense set up like that. And I just think again, Xavi has to take more risks with this defense. He's got to change it around. Just because certain players have more experience or have a better name than others doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day, it's whoever gets the job done and whoever's doing the actual performance.
Personally, Alonso's best as the second man at left back. He's best at coming into the game at some point to provide
Yeah.
um some some energy. And I really don't care if maybe Xavi didn't play Balde right away because he played against Mallorca. Whatever the case is, he needs to realize who's the guy at the right moment. And it's kind of sad that he's not trusting Balde in the big stage. It's kind of sad because I mean he could very well say, "Oh no, I didn't play him because to rest him from Saturday."
Yeah. No. From here and out, Balde, he is Xavi's first choice in left back.
I don't understand.
If he's first choice, he starts all the games. From now on, I want to see Balde starting all the big games and the
And if you're
majority of
gonna
games.
and if you're gonna start Alonso at left, but you better start Balde at right back then. There's nothing else to
Yeah.
be said.
But even then, you still waste Balde's ability.
Yeah, yeah,
I
but you gotta think. I mean, you just gotta see the way Xavi thinks. Maybe Xavi sees something
yeah.
in Alonso that we don't, even though I don't agree. But
No. Yeah, I think for now, I think Sergio Roberto is going to start in that right back spot until Bejarin, Kunde, or Araujo they come back, and just have that and see what we do and have Balde start at left back. But Christensen, he got injured, and that's another center back that is injured. Right now, the only fit center back duo that we have is Eric Garcia and Pique. We're gonna have to go into the El Clasico, the game against Bayern, the game against Inter with that defense. PK on with versus pacey players does not fill me with confidence, um, and that right back spot with Sergio Roberto, that defense isn't filled with pace, isn't blessed with pace. It's going to be very hard for Barcelona to get through this with a clean sheet. We're just going to have to outscore people. And one more thing, I don't think that Rafinha and Dembele can play on the same pitch. You saw this countless times. Rafinha, he is best suited on the right. You saw in the game against Brazil versus Tunisia, he scored 2 goals. His favorite position is on the right. If you're going to play Ousmane Dembele and Rafinha, Dembele has to be the one on the left, Rafinha has to be on the right. Because if not, that it doesn't work. We're going to have to see how Xavi adapts because we have huge games ahead of ourselves and we need points.
I'm not sure if I said this in the last stream with all, because I definitely told Alex this, but I'm not sure if I said it in the last stream that same thing, Rafinha and Dembele should not be playing at the same time. They're very similar players in the sense that a lot of crossing.
Okay.
And second, but yeah, Rafinha is more of a right winger than a left winger, and I hope that eventually, I know Xavi's being very careful with Fati because of his injury, because of his history with injuries and stuff. Start him. It's already been how many months since the season started? Like over a month, right?
Yeah.
So he's already have enough games under his belt to play. Maybe not play a full 90 minutes, but play 60, 70 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or play for a run, a left wing. But I have said this already. Even though it's worked at some point, I've already said this. Dembele and Rafinha is at the same time. It's not a long term fix unless you sub in Rafinha at some point of the game and he matches with Dembele. Okay, but both should not be starting at the same time.
No, I completely agree.
But then the only pure scoring offense is coming from Lewandowski. So
And then you need service for that.
and you need someone like Ferran or Fati to step in. I'm saving Ferran because he's another option, but mostly Fati to step in and actually score as well. So
No. And something that Alex briefly talked about, we haven't even talked about the refereeing decisions. I think this was an absolute scandal of a match. I think this is the biggest scandal since VAR was introduced. I think that's how bad it was tonight. Multiple instances where the referee was completely wrong. I was furious watching that game. during many points during the game. For example, at the very start, um, Chanoglu slides tackles Busquets with spikes up and just tackles Busquets like in the shin. That is a red card. You saw in many instances in other games where that offense, anytime your cleat is up, it's a red card. Only a yellow was given, and that's a red forgiven. You go into the Pedri goal, disallowed. And then the big controversial, the Dumfries handball, clear handball, clear as daylight, touches the hand and everything, wasn't called. I think as even though this was an atrocious Barcelona performance, those actions would have affected us and given us a draw at least, maybe giving us a win.
Yeah, I mean, it's always I always try to avoid that. Saying what if. Well, and I don't like. Well, I know you're not doing it with in this sense, but I also don't like excusing a team sport performance on refereeing decisions. Although they did play a role here, but I mean, it happens. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things that happens behind the scenes that we don't see. And even then, the rules have changed so much, and VR, it's all very confusing, really. At
No,
least
no, yeah, because like how is that? How is the first one disallowed because it touches the hand, and the second one not given as a penalty? It's a clear. In during the corner kick, it touches Dumfries' hand, and the referee doesn't give that.
I agree, but then they'll argue about natural body position or some other
No, I mean, but like but the rule is if the hand touches if the ball touches the hand anywhere in the penalty box, it's a penalty. It's a penalty. That's exactly why the goal was disallowed. The Pedri's goal. So you can't say, hey, one isn't a goal, and the one isn't a penalty. You can't. You have to either choose one or the other. And I think this because like when you think about, hey, if Pedri scores that goal, 1-1. We have 20 minutes to do something. Inter has to go, hey, we need to get something because we're no longer winning. We need be a little bit more offensive. And that second penalty, let's say Pedri's goal wasn't counted, it draws the game. That's huge because now we have to think next week. We have a monumental next couple of games. We have to win against Inter at home. We have to win against Bayern, and we have to win it away against Victoria Pilsen. And the last game is against, I believe it's against Bayern, if I'm not mistaken. Bayern, hold on. Let me see the schedule because I don't know if they play Victoria Pilsen after the game against Inter. Yep. The fifth game, the game after Inter, is Bayern at home. So Bayern, their last game is going to be Inter at home. That means that Bayern Munich could already have classification done with, and they can just like send out their B team. And we need Bayern to beat Inter. We definitely need that.
Yeah,
if we want to make through the group.
That's our hope at this point.
Yeah.
If Inter somehow beats Bayern, I mean, and every game from now on, it needs to be a must win. You need to be Inter at home. That fourth team, Victoria, whatever, I don't even know the whole name.
Victoria Pilsen.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
I'm not even gonna talk about that because that should be considered a win. They should get in a win, and there's nothing else to be said. They have to win against Inter at home.
yeah, because imagine this. Imagine Barcelona spend 150 million and they don't even get past the group stage.
And now I'm thinking,
that's a catastrophe and a disappointment in so many levels.
You have to think that if they somehow don't make it past the group stage, Xavi's job could be in jeopardy.
His job could be in jeopardy because
So
Xavi has done
like either they give him a warning, which I don't know what you told a coach next time. I don't think you told a coach you're out next time. You either do or you don't. But and it's true, we all love Xavi because as a player, and he's done a good job as a coach. But no matter how tough your group is, with the players that you have and the money that you spend, you need to make it pass. And like I want to think about like the different scenarios of the group stage from now on, because let's say Bayern beats Inter. Inter, that will be Inter's first loss.
Oh, no, they already lost in the San Siro. Their first game was
Yes,
against Bayern
against
at
Bayern.
home. They lost two
Right.
0 They beat Victoria Pilsen.
They
They
beat
beat us.
Barca.
They're on
So,
6 points. They're on
so
six
then
points.
if they lose that second game to Bayern and then they lose to us, yeah, that will put us over. So I mean,
No, no, yeah, exactly. For what Barcelona have to do now is win the majority of their games. Um,
if they beat Inter at home and Inter loses to Bayern, we make it through.
okay, yeah, because this is the group so far. This is how it looks right now. Bayern in first with 9 points. Inter in second with six. Barcelona in third. If Barcelona win next game, they go with 6 points. But Barcelona have to win by one, but by basically 2-0, but uh, by 2 goal difference, just to go to leapfrog them. Because we assume that Inter is going to beat Victoria Pilsen again. So they're going to go into 9 points, and what we're likely going to have to do is we're going to have to beat Bayern Munich if we want to make it, um, or at least draw or do something, because we need 6 points out of these two games against Inter and Victoria
No, I
Pilsen,
mean, think about it. If we if Inter loses to Bayern, that will be
and it would be catastrophic.
assuming that Inter loses that we beat Inter at home and they lose to Bayern, that will give them 3 losses in the group stage. That means that and we will have 2 losses. So that means that points wise and with everything else, we will advance.
It depends how the game goes against Bayern. It depends how if we beat Bayern. Because if Inter beats Bayern away from home and we lose to Bayern, we're out. It's gonna be something like that. Um, but the theme is we now have 3 finals ahead of us. We do not want to be in this position, and we're in it. What do you think, Alex?
It's a shitty situation, really. There's no other way to say it. Now we're and our backs are against the wall. We got to fight, and like we
Mhm.
said, we definitely. I mean, it goes without saying we got to win the game against Victoria Pleasant, and we gotta. I mean, the thing is, maybe I'm too ambitious for what the team is right now, but I think we gotta win our other games, all of them. I don't think we have an excuse.
No, we're
Bayern,
Barcelona squad. We have to win every single game, and we have
exactly.
the quality to do it.
I understand now we're going for the bare minimum to qualify, and that's fine. It's unfortunately the situation we are in. We should have at least 3 wins by now, but unfortunately that's not the case. So of course, now we gotta beat Inter at home. There's no excuse for that. If we don't, our hopes are over because I'm sure we'll be Victoria Pleasant, but then Inter have to lose against Bayern, and then Bayern has to. Yeah, it's a lot of work. We just gotta take every one game at a time and try to do our best to give it our all. And I mean, it's stuff that goes without saying. Just try to at least get something out of the group stage, and then we'll see how the round of 16 and onward goes.
No, yeah, I agree. But before we round off, last thoughts regarding the game. Uh, do any of you guys have any last thoughts?
No, I mean it's just disappointing and it hurts a lot. Considering how much we've been through as a team and how
Mhm.
much we've improved and how much we've grown. But stuff like this happens unfortunately, and we can't let the negative affect how far we've come. It's night day and night the difference. So
Mhm.
we gotta focus on the positive and just keep giving it. Well, obviously the players gotta keep giving it their all, and us as fans we gotta support all the decisions the directory makes and the team itself.
No, I mean, I was confident in this match, even after the break and all the injuries that came up. The way we play against Bayern, because I mean, we played a great game against Bayern.
Exactly.
We deflated after that first goal,
Uh huh.
but
You're
we played
completely
a
right.
great game in Munich against
Hmm.
Bayern. So yeah, we had injuries, but chemistry and motivation do not matter. Like injuries don't affect those two factors. So I mean, I wasn't counting this an easy win, but I was counting it as a win the way we have played, even if it was in not at home. But
No, no, you're completely
they
right.
put themselves in this position, so they have to get themselves out of it. They have to be Victoria, they have to be Inter, and depending how Inter does against Bayern, we might have to be Bayern as well. So
Oof.
And if it doesn't happen, it hurts me to say, but Xavi needs to be considered as
No,
an exit. So
yeah, because he's been doing such a great job, but this can't be allowed.
it doesn't matter if the group was City,
Yeah.
Bayern, Madrid. You still have to
Hey,
with the resources given, you have to figure it out.
yeah, exactly. You have to figure it out. But overall, this performance reminds me of the Koeman era, where Barcelona had a lack of ideas, poor performances by players. This was definitely a night to forget. It was a scandalous night, another terrible performance. But we move on. We have a big game in La Liga this weekend against Celta de Vigo. We need to win that just to get our confidence back up before we go against our second final of the season versus Inter Milan at home. But guys, that was it for tonight's episode. We reviewed the game against Inter. It was a very disappointing game, but we'll be back for a preview on the Celta Vigo game. Well, we'll catch you guys all in the next video.
Bye, guys.